Hey, Derek Snow here, the voice of Real Boismortier and Black Clover. That's right, the captain of the Aqua Deer Squad. Where is Charmy? Oh well. Welcome to Anime Egotists. I think it's time for a little bit of picture magic. What do you say? Have fun, guys.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I'd like to think if we had a school, our school uniforms would be kind of cool.
Yeah, they'd probably end up being jumpsuits in bright orange colors with bars on the window of the school.
We're already disagreeing on this video. Wow, that's not a good sign. Anyways, my name's Alex, and if there's a girl around who decides to punch me to show affection, I'm probably not interested.
I might be, and I'm Richard.
Maybe this video was a bad idea, but we're back. And in anime, there's a trope that I've been pretty critical of the past, well, actually, since we started doing this, the tsundere.
Yeah, I think you've been very vocal about your less than stellar thoughts about the tsundere trope.
Yeah, because when it's done poorly, tsunderes are insufferable. But that's the thing, when done correctly, they're actually very engaging characters on the show.
Exactly. And I can admit that tsunderes can be really hit or miss. There are some that are like, wow, they're actually an enjoyable character. And other times it's just like, okay, you're just mean for the sake of being mean and to have this trope in this show.
That's correct. But this time, we're going to try to be positive. We're trying to do something a little bit different for a trope that I'm not as big of a fan of as everyone else. We're going to talk about our favorite tsunderes in anime. Hey, male, female, non-binary, non-romantic tsunderes? Just our favorites. And before you ask, well, what about Taiga from Toradora? What about her?
I've never seen the show, so
Me either, in all honesty. But it's much more fun to just be confrontational and say, what about her?
Alright, well, do you want to start us off?
I feel like I need some time if I'm going to praise tsundere, so why don't you go ahead, start us off.
Alright. So my first one is one that I just want to get kind of out of the way, because I've spoken with her about her before. Erina from Food Wars.
Oh, you've spoken with her. That's different.
Spoken of her, sorry. But she's very much starts out as your stereotypical tsundere, very antagonistic towards Soma, the protagonist, and kind of his group of friends and all that. But you start to learn about her past when her father shows up in the show and all that she kind of went through as a little kid, her fears for the future when we learn more about her mom's story and all that. So you learn that she's been through a lot and she was raised to have the perfect palate and be able to taste foods and know exactly what they need and all that. So in a show all about cooking, that kind of makes her arrogant and stuff. But throughout the show, she does grow and come to realize that there's more than one way of cooking and developing flavors. So she does grow throughout the series, which is nice. And she even becomes, while she still uses that kind of those tsundere things, but she becomes more like she's pretending to be angry and mean. But you can tell that she's playing around, is kind of towards the end of the series. It's not, she is more friendly with everybody, so, but she uses it to joke with other people.
Yeah. Even with the little of Food Wars I have seen, I do feel like people largely like this character. I do feel like there are times where you said that she's not as much your favorite compared to everybody else, but she still seems like she has her moments.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely early on. It takes quite a while. It's not till like season 3 that she really starts becoming a full friend and starts really transforming herself as the series goes on.
Yeah, that's good. I have also heard from you that in some cases she might backtrack. Is that still true? Do you still feel that way?
There is a little bit of that in the 4th season. I think it leads up to her being able to overcome most of her tendencies at the end of the series. It's because that's when her mom's introduced. That's when we learn more that her mom has the same ability and that it can be a curse where you reach a point where all food tastes disgusting if it's not made absolutely perfectly. So it's just one of those things that you see once you start learning more about her, you kind of understand why she, again, past trauma led her to act the way she's acting, and her friends try to bring her back to her true self. Pretty much is allowing her to kind of escape a lot of the tendencies towards the end of the series.
Yeah, I can understand that. It does sound like a good story for her. Like I said, though, I don't know if I can give Food Wars a chance, though, because every time I watch it, I'm watching Toriko right now, and it's hard because I get so hungry.
This is another one where the recipes could actually be made because it's not necessarily mythical random things from like Toriko has.
There's some Toriko recipes that actually look like they could be doable.
But these, like every recipe technically in Food Wars could be made if
Well,
you
don't
really
talk
wanted to.
trash about Toriko, okay? All
All
right.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
I've given it one shot, and that was the random special with Goku and Luffy. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, in all seriousness, this though, maybe someday with Food Wars, but not. It's on the back burner compared to a lot of other shows, especially a show I just started about a week ago.
yeah, and, I mean, I would definitely sit there with something to eat if you're a person who would get hungry while watching the show.
Yeah, but then I get hungry, and that's the problem. But I can go sign Erina. Maybe not my cup of tea, but who knows?
All right. So your first one.
All right. A lot of the times I talk about Nisekoi, people might think, oh, you're going to bring up Chitoge. But if she's not even the best tsundere in her own show, what makes you think that she's the best tsundere in anime? Seishirou Tsugumi from, well, Nisekoi.
Okay.
All right, Tsugumi to me is a very interesting character because she starts off as just kind of a childhood friend of Chitoge. Hayes, and of course the big plot reveal that Tsugumi is actually a girl, because I guess they couldn't tell. Anyways, we learned that she was raised as a boy and really had to learn to be tough and no nonsense as a bodyguard. Yeah, she has guns on her all the time, go figure. But she is actually a very kind and considerate person when she's not doing her shtick. Heck, she gives advice to her friends on a regular basis and is willing to make sacrifices for them. And there are even moments where she realizes, I kind of like this more quote unquote girly stuff. I kind of like the person I'm becoming thanks to my friends. And you just feel bad for her in some cases because she's kind of the person who, like I said, gives advice, who helps people. But it almost never feels like, in some cases, that she's the focus in a sense. She seemingly starts off as a side character, but she quickly grew to be everybody's favorite character just because of the person she is. On top of the fact that she will kill you if you do something wrong, which it, it, it's a little scary at times. But she's just she's a really sweet person when she wants to be, and honestly, she grew to be my favorite character.
Which is saying a lot because especially if she starts with tsundere characteristics, that's usually something I notice you don't uh like at all. So
Yeah. And I guess it kind of got solidified because, yes, I actually did read the manga. It's not spectacular. But it gets to a point where she actually learns that Chitoge has legitimate feelings for Raku, and she also has feelings for Raku. So she walks up behind him, covers Raku's eyes, and she confesses to him and comes out and also says, I love you more than life itself. But I also know that one of my closest friends is also in love with you. I can't put her through that, so I'm letting you go. And at that point, you're just like, what the? I don't know. They had actually kind of built a pretty unique connection, Raku and Tsugumi. So when you see that, you're kind of like, dang, she gave up like that. You can't, I can't hate somebody who does that.
yeah, but that's like that sounds like a big transformation because it seems like tsunderes are always the ones that would be angry and upset if the main character chose someone else over them, and not maybe even to the point where they might get a little violent.
That's the crazy thing, is he hadn't even decided yet. Which, as I've said before, it to me with Nisekoi, it did not matter who Raku chose. It mattered what was the story compelling towards the end. And sadly, the answer was no.
Yeah, that unfortunately happens a lot. I've noticed with some anime where they go out on a whimper instead of after, because you'd say you like the start, especially in the
Yeah,
mid part of
yeah,
the story.
yeah. Like when the show's good, it is very good, I'd say.
Okay. I've never seen Nisekoi, but maybe one day. I've debated giving a lot more slice of life stuff a chance. So
Yeah. But Tsugumi, and yes, Chitoge is pretty good too at times, but to me, Tsugumi is more consistently good, which is why I gave her my first spot.
all right. So my next one.
Go ahead.
So I put uh Nami from One Piece on here.
Okay.
So she's not, I wouldn't call her maybe a full tsundere, but she definitely has a lot of tsundere tendencies. She can be very violent towards Luffy and the other male members of the crew, especially when they kind of perv out, uh, which is deserving for them because they perv out a lot. Um, but you still kind of get that stereotypical, yes, she can be that angry, kind of violent tsundere, but then it's hiding the fact that she really does care about a lot of what they take care of and the missions that they go on and to help different kingdoms, to help different people. The ones that come to mind are a lot of times with Momonosuke, even though he's a pervert, she views him as a little kid, so she's more kind to him. There's the big the giant kids and the oh god, I forgot what the name of the arc is, but on the one island right after they come back from Fishman Island. So just where she kind of serves as a big sister to all of these people. So you can kind of see her having both aspects, but it's mainly a lot of times with her tsundere tendencies are focused on her own crew and just hiding the fact that she can be so nice to other people is kind of, as I said, that stereotypical tsundere.
Yeah. I think what makes Nami in particular that much more better than the average tsundere is that it's like you pointed out, a lot of the times when she smacks people around, they do deserve it. When somebody does that, it makes them it makes them a little more grounded. But if you start punching people for no reason or just because, it makes them a lot less tolerable. And they don't do that with Nami too often. So that does make me appreciate her more.
Yeah, and I think with her as well, it's not even just when they're focused on her. It happens with like Rebecca and other female characters that serve as major characters in one. If any of the Straw Hats do anything, she reacts the same way. So it could be a defense thing as well for her, for other people, for other women, especially when it comes to them. So it makes sense for Nami to be this, and it also shows how powerful she is because she can beat up Luffy on an occasion.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of think it's similar, even though I don't ship Luffy and Nami or anything, but it does kind of remind me of Goku and Chi-Chi in the sense of you're the strongest person in this universe, yet you're getting beaten up by this more human-like woman, and I actually have my money on her.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So, but yeah, Nami, because she uses her tsundere characteristics for like a good reason, I think it makes it well done.
And especially with the arc she had really early in the series, I think that's what drew a lot of people to her. Like because it starts off as just, oh, she's betraying them. It's like, no, it's not that simple, guys. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, that plays a probably good part in it as well, but you really don't see with her village. You don't see too much of the tsundere. You know that she's just pretty much from the start. You can see that she's trying to do this to take care of them.
Yeah. But even with me falling off with One Piece sometimes, I will always say Nami was always a character I liked. I thought she was really cool.
All right, but yeah, Nami, I think she deserves to be on this list, and I guess it's your next one.
Sure. Haruka Sakura from Windbreaker.
Okay.
All right, I think what like he just goes by Sakura. Yeah, male tsundere. He's the main character of this show, and when he first shows up at at this town he's living in, and his backstory is that because of the way he looks, half of his hair is white, half of his hair is black. He has one of his pupils is yellow. Everybody judged him for his appearance. Everybody hated him, so he learned to fight to protect himself. But when he shows up at Bofurin, that new school he's going to, and he actually saves some people when he first gets there. And normally in a story like this, everybody would be like, "Oh, this new weird guy showed up and saved us." Just because he saved us doesn't mean we have to like him. But the story he kind of flips it. Everybody loves him the second he helps them, and they're very appreciative and they welcome in. And he gets kind of flustered by it. He blushes, he stammers, he says, "Oh, I'm just doing it because those guys made me mad. It wasn't to save you or anything." But he's just a really kind, compassionate person under his rough exterior. And even though it kind of does a thing where it feels like most of the characters are affecting him, not so much he's affecting them. Him, like he learns to be kinder. He learns the fact that hey, you can open up and trust people, but he does motivate two of his teammates to kind of become his second in command at one point. And one of the more laid back characters, Suo, admits, I've started to want to become stronger because of Sakura, before he proceeds to humiliate his opponent in front of all of his friends. So, in a sense, it kind of works, but I don't know. Sakura is just so refreshing so far.
Yeah, it's definitely sounds like he goes through a nice arc of becoming more open about how he actually is versus hiding it behind the kind of fake anger and stuff that a lot of tsunderes are used to hide their feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have put him a little bit higher on this list, but the show was only 13 episodes, so I kind of feel like everybody tells me he gets so much better, and I already love him, so that's a good sign. But I'm just like, until I see more, I want to temper myself on that.
Okay, yeah, I this is another one that's kind of on the back burner for me. Eventually, I'll get to it. It's because I've got Tokyo Revengers has been on my list to go watch. Got a friend who really wants me to watch Jujutsu Kaisen now. So I've got a lot of shows that people want me to watch now.
Yeah, but Sakura from Windbreaker, he's such a refreshing tsundere. Hey, can't wait for Windbreaker season 2, which apparently has been confirmed for next year.
Oh, well, that's good. Maybe I'll watch it before that one comes out, and then I can keep up with it.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one. So I put Uryū Ishida from Bleach. So the first male tsundere on my list. He starts out so much as this self-appointed kind of rival to uh, Ichigo, as I'm wanting to prove that the Quincy's are better than the Soul Reapers. He goes so far to out of the way to uh, like trigger a bait trap to summon a whole bunch of hollows to attack the city that it turns out that he can't defend it, and it summons the first Menos Grande that we see in the entire show. Or Menos Grande, I can't remember how they pronounce it, but the giant ones. And he kind of gets nervous about that. Ichigo, I think, if I remember correctly, repels it, and then we cut to the he really doesn't show too much more as a main character from what I remember until they start going to retrieve Rukia, and then he plays a bit more of the tsundere characters where he's like, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for Rukia kind of thing with Ichigo, and kind of back and forth. And that seems like how he acts through most of the next few arcs up until where we're currently at, where he's kind of gone villainous. I know that there's a lot more to the story, so I don't want to spoil it because we're not done with it yet, but we have seen that he's working with Yuha in the Blood War.
I feel like I haven't gotten much of your takes on the Blood War stuff so far. How is it?
I'm enjoying it. I want to either. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna finish part 2 and then wait and then watch all of part 3 when it comes out as it's coming out, because the way they've done it is very short, sudden bursts of several episodes over a couple weeks, and then it stops and goes away for a couple months and then comes back. So I don't know, I'm debating waiting until it's complete and then binging it.
Okay. Yeah, but even I can agree. From what I remember of Bleach, I do remember him being a pretty interesting character, and that his tsundere tendencies were never fully overbearing, from what I can remember. Maybe I'm misremembering, though.
Yeah, from what I still seem to remember a couple scenes where, especially, I think it's when some of the Soul Reapers come and are pretending to be other high school students, that they invite him over for like a lunch or something on the roof, and he kind of gets overwhelmed because he wasn't expecting to get invited to this. or maybe it's earlier in the series with Ichigo and his friends, but just he has those tendencies of being like kind of that loner tendencies some Tsunderes have, and just trying to like put up walls to pretend that they don't care that they're alone.
Yeah. Also, I think I recall you saying you didn't want something between him and Orihime. Maybe I might be completely misremembering that.
It's possible I said something. We've filmed so many of these now.
Yeah, you don't want Uryū to be with Orihime. You don't want Ichigo to be with Orihime. You just want Orihime to be miserable. I'm starting to notice.
She can be happy with whoever she wants to be, but I don't know. As I said, I liked Ichigo with Rukia better, but that was just my choice.
We'll talk. I actually have two video ideas we could talk about that more about, but another point for another day. But Uryū, yeah, I remember. Even though I don't remember the most about him, I do remember at least remember. I at least remember him, and I don't remember hating him.
Yeah, he quickly joins the team, but still always acts like he's doing this for his own growth, pretty much, was his whole mindset.
Yeah.
So, all right. So your next entry?
All right. Noelle Silva from Black Clover.
Okay.
I just think Noelle, okay, she starts off being part of a very high royalty family, but she can't control her powers, and it makes the rest of her family despise her. And when her mother passes away, her mother being like one of the few people that actually care about her, it kind of enables the bullying even more. She wants to become a magic knight to make it all stop. And thanks to Asta in particular and the Black Bulls, she grows. She still does the I'm royalty thing. She still calls Asta stupid and blasts him with spells every now and then, but she's grown to be an incredibly compelling character. She stands up for people, whether they're peasants or royalty. She's gotten stronger. For the longest time, she was one of the characters who never lost a fight, which is crazy considering she couldn't control anything. There's been a great arc of her getting better, but she still does feel like a tsundere at times, and every now and then I roll my eyes at it. And there's even an episode where she's doing where I guess she's trying to fly Asta home for it's a filler episode. And she even tells Asta in the flashback, "Oh, sure, I can help you since I'm so great." And you see this look on Asta's face, like, but he just looks miserable for the whole episode. Oh, but she's still an awesome character, and I understand why she's like in the top 3, top 5 favorite Black Clover characters. I like Noelle so much more than I thought I would.
Yeah, and from what I've seen of her, she's grown a lot throughout the series and come to kind of accept herself, and she making her drop some of the tsundere characteristics, but still keep some especially towards how she feels towards Asta, from what I've seen.
I do like the gag though that she'll be like, "Oh, of course, oh, good. They actually the rest of us actually were able to make it." But inside her head, she's like, "Oh my God, they're also okay. I'm so happy." Like stuff like that makes me like her a lot more. And I especially love her relationship with Mimosa. Like they're two personality wise, they could not be more different. But Mimosa was always nice to Noelle, and I like how Noelle almost never uses her tsundere stuff on Mimosa. I think their dynamic is it's really cute.
Yeah, and they show that sometimes there are members of the family that aren't your closest relatives that you can be close to.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to be what, cousins?
Cousins, yes.
So yeah, and she, as you said, they treat each other better than both of them are treated by their other siblings.
Yeah, I couldn't hang with Mimosa's brother. That dude is obnoxious. Now, and like I said, it doesn't feel like too much. Now, do I want Noelle and Asta to end up together? Not. It's another video for another day, but let me put to you this way. They have not done a great job of building it up.
Okay.
You'll understand what I mean in another topic, but we've talked, but I in a perfect world, sure, but with the way it's been built, not really, no. But other than that, Noelle, top, really like her. She's awesome.
All right. Yeah, I'll co-sign. I think from what I've seen enough from her that while she starts out very annoying and with just how her tsundere characteristics are, even in those first few arcs, she grows a lot. And while she still shows it, you get to see more of her inner thoughts, which I can agree helps a lot.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'll do my Black Clover one as well. This one's more portrayed for comedy. Charlotte Roselei.
Sure.
I just love how this one's portrayed so comedic, and it's more for the fact that she's just so nervous around Yami. I just and I like how it pretty much she's created this entire personality, and her entire Magic Knight squad pretty much has the exact same personality as her in some way when it comes to men, and she doesn't necessarily want that because how she just created this just to protect herself pretty much from her own feelings.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like at least up until the point I've seen of Black Clover, it's in it just enough to be comedic, but not be obnoxious. Now, I don't know if it continues too much past there, if it gets worse. It looks like you might think it does.
I don't think it gets worse, but let me put it to you this way. I feel like in episodes when it happens, it's balanced between like, because in all seriousness, I do think she has become one. Because I'm gonna be honest, I did not used to like her, but she has grown on me. Primarily because of that. But especially in the Elf arc, she has a lot of awesome moments in her battles, and we do learn more about her backstory and just how sad it was. Because it makes sense in a way why she's a little more closed off, but appreciative to Yami, and even looks up to the Wizard King and respects him. But there was a full episode about her feelings for Yami that to this day I don't know if it was good or not. Like it had moments where I was cracking up, but it also had moments where I'm like, huh. No wonder I didn't want to join this squad. This is awful.
Okay, so it sounds like from where I stand in the series, it's been done well enough, because for me at least, where I found it very comedic, because you every time that we see it, we get her inner thoughts, which I kind of enjoy, and get to see that she's absolutely terrified of how that she's going to make a fool of herself in front of Yami is literally every time, and that it actually makes kind of a realistic sense for a tsundere to be. It's literally a wall to protect herself is what she's put up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not always done perfectly, but it's never to the point where I'm like, wow, I'd never want to see this character again. There are just moments where I'm just like, all right, I'm kind of over this for the episode. What's next?
Okay, yeah, I can see that, especially if they, as you said, there is a full episode where they're dedicated to kind of this trope and her feelings for Yami. I could see it.
Yeah, it's the episode where it ends where she confesses her feelings to the rest of the Blue Roses, and everybody else is so happy about it because apparently a lot of them have boyfriends, but have been way too scared to say anything.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, remember, we did that Black Clover video, and neither one of us picked the Blue Roses. There's a good reason for that.
Yeah, yeah. Because if I remember correctly, there are male members, but they're treated more as servants to the female knights.
Somebody in the kingdom should really look into that because it's a little twisted.
All right, but I think that makes four. So you have one more, right? For
Yeah.
honorable mentions.
Yeah, but Charlotte's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is it. She's grown on me because, as I said, the first time it was jarring, but then I really enjoyed it after that.
Her voice actress has way too much fun doing that, I swear.
Yes, yes, she does.
All right. Hey, speaking of characters with awesome voice actresses, I want to give this tsundere a chance because even as well known as she is, I feel like even now she's kind of underrated.
Okay.
Jessie from Pokemon.
Okay.
I just feel like Jessie had a rough life. She grew up with her mother apparently being part of Team Rocket and being lost looking for Mew. Whether that's anime canon or not, I still haven't completely figured out. But she wanted to do her best regardless of that. She remembers there was an episode where it was revealed she wanted to be like a Nurse Joy, and she had an episode with that, Chansey, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and in that episode, when it keeps coming after her and recognizes her, she can't bring herself to fully defeat it. She's terrified. But she's also kind of the mom to Team Rocket. She can be harsh, she can be scary, she can be downright mean sometimes, especially when she calls the Viper. But I don't know, you can really tell that there is a sadness to her, that the reason she wants to be rich and successful is just because of how horrible her childhood was. There are moments she sacrificed for Jessie, for James and Meow. She sacrificed for her Pokemon. She sacrificed for Ash in the game. Hey, and I don't know, you can tell, and every now and then she'll bring up moments of like somebody who she used to be in love with, and you just, I don't know, you just feel all the more sad for her in a lot of areas, especially with one of you and my favorite episodes when she almost gets married in X and Y, but runs off to save James and Meowth, and even tells Wobbuffet, "Hey, I need to go save them, but you stay here." Not to mention, she's also hilarious. She has some of the best lines in the whole show. Oh, and I don't know. She's not as kind as Meowth and James can be sometimes, but I still think Jessie deserves some love. I definitely consider her a tsundere, and I don't know. I think Jessie kind of gets swept under the radar when she doesn't deserve to.
I can definitely see that. I think her tsundere tendencies came out very heavily during the advanced and Diamond and Pearl generations, because with a lot of her stuff with contests being like, especially how she treated Meowth and James throughout a lot of those, you see those tendencies that she's trying to force them to do all this stuff because it's what she wants, pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm not excusing that. But there is a caring side for her, especially in Sun and Moon when her Mimikyu's outfit gets torn. She even tells it during the episode, "Just hand it to me. I don't know why you like it so much, but I will fix it if you want me to." I don't know. I understand that James stands out compared to a lot of other characters, and Meowth's awesome too, but Team Rocket would not be the same without Jessie.
And I was gonna say she has, I think, more times where she gives up Pokemon than a lot of the others, but her and James probably are about even when it comes to the every couple seasons they had one where they're an episode where they're giving up a Pokemon, or at least offering a Pokemon to be happier somewhere else.
Yeah, like her Dust Talks, that episode broke my heart.
Yeah, and then she and James share the goodbye to Arbok and Weezing, which again is probably one of the saddest moments in all of Pokemon.
I was going to try my hardest not to bring that moment up, but even the episode where it looks like she wants to give up Pumpkaboo, she kind of realizes, no, I care way too much about Pumpkaboo, and then it evolves.
Yeah, which just shows how kind she can be to her own Pokemon. Because is it Pumpkaboo's not a friendship evolution, or is it?
I thought it was a trade. I thought that's how it happened because didn't she trade it at first?
Maybe. It's been so long since I've seen those episodes, and I haven't had to trade one recently. I've been working on trying to get the complete set of all four different sizes because some of them are harder to tell.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I just feel like Jessie kind of gets swept under the rug, and there are even some people who outright hate her, which you're on your own for that. But I don't know. I just feel like she is definitely a tsundere, but I do love Jessie. I appreciate her so much more now that I'm older.
Yeah, and you can kind of feel that she takes control, which is a lot of times what we see Tsunderes try to do when it comes to like their activities with their group of friends and stuff.
Yeah, heck, I even remember when her Cascoon evolved, and everyone told her, "What? It's not gonna. Wasn't gonna become a Beautifly, stupid. Like, no, it's a Dustox instead." And rather than raging, she's like, "Oh my god, I love my Dustox." I'm like, I love Jessie. She's awesome.
Yeah, she truly cares about those that are people that are close to her and her Pokemon. So I can co-sign.
Yeah, and she has one of the most underrated statements of all time. If it's not on the plate, it can wait.
Oh, remember that? But I'm thinking that was from the advanced generation.
I think it was during a Dream episode in Diamond and Pearl, but I could be wrong. But Jessie's awesome. She's great.
Yeah. All right. Honorable mentions time.
Let's do it.
All right. So my first honorable mention is Kiyo from Zatch Bell.
Okay, yeah.
So he is pretty much starts out as your stereotypical tsundere, trying to get away from Zatch, trying to get away from Susie, doesn't have any close friends, and he slowly throughout the series learns to actually be a kind person. So he actually kind of changes. He still has those tsundere characteristics when he kind of fights with Zatch on the occasion throughout the series, but it gets toned down to become a lot less mean spirited from how it was in the first few episodes to be more, hey, I'm saying this, but I don't mean anything by it anymore.
Yeah. I think the thing about Kiyo is you appreciate him so much more once you get older, because as we learn, it's not, oh, Kiyo's a jerk to everybody, so that's why he's miserable. It's Kiyo's a jerk to people because everybody hated him as they got older because he was smart. So you do see, like we talked about, a protective wall. And I do agree, he does grow to be much kinder to people and open up, especially in the sequel. You can really tell that they remembered everything he went through and put him through. Heck, there's a scene towards the end of the manga where it looks like he's about to die, and in his head, he thinks to himself, wow, throughout everything, I was not great to Susie in the beginning. All she did was try to help me, and he even thinks to himself, if I make it out of this, I'm gonna find a way to make it up to her. So it is really cool to see just how much he grows. Even if I do get a little kick of him being cruel at times and taping Volcom and and taping Zatch's toy to the top of the ceiling and walking away laughing maniacally. I'm like, I kind of respect that.
Yeah, that's kind of the older brother aspect that I guess comes into play at this point. So it's something that, from my understanding, some siblings would do. You put a toy out of reach of your little siblings or something, so that you could just laugh at them or distract them long enough so you could get away with what you wanted to do.
Yeah, he's a lot funnier than I remember. I mean, though, Kiyo is the epitome of I don't get paid enough to do this, and it resonates. But he still has grown to be a much kinder person. I like that pick. I really appreciate Kiyo.
Yeah, and the kind of where you see his transformation has really occurred is the camping episode where all of his friends from high school or middle school or whatever grade they're in are going camping, and they actually want to spend time with him versus the start of the series where one of them is the bully that was going to beat up Zatch and Susie.
Hey, Kane might be my favorite human character. He's he's
Are we sure he's not a Momoto?
I think he thought there was an episode where they asked that, oh, there's something glowing in the sky. What is it? What somebody says it's the lights of a baseball field. The other guy says it's a UFO. For once, that's actually not a horrible answer. And Kane says a glowing dinosaur. Why would a dinosaur be glowing? But yeah, I think that episode's also really good for that. Even if they get on him about not making the curry too spicy, get over it. What I'm making, you're gonna eat. But I think Kiyo, like I said, as I've gotten older, Kiyo might actually be my favorite character. I don't know though.
Yeah, I mean, I still always been partial to Palco Fulgore being
Yeah.
my favorite, but
Or maybe Dr. Riddles. I don't know.
but he goes through a big transformation, especially even in just the first season. Because that's all in that first season technically.
Yeah, I can co-sign. And as someone who's been kind of keeping up with the newer manga, it's consistent. Like he's grown, but he still has some childish tendencies every now and then. But it's fine.
All right. So your first honorable mention?
Ringo-chan from Daily Lives of High School Boys.
Okay.
All right, so Ringo, yeah, it's because she has the same haircut as the guy in the Beatles. They do call her Ringo. Oh, goes to another school. She goes to another school from the main cast, and it's an all-girls school. So she kind of has this mindset of, oh, we can't let the boys push us around. We can't let the boys think they're better than us. Only to realize that all the boys she interacts with are all really, really nice guys, and that kind of affects her. Every now and then will pop up at the school and act like she has a problem with them, but deep down you can tell that she legitimately cares about them and they've grown to be friends. She doesn't it does kind of come out of nowhere sometimes, but it's still she's funny enough that makes it work. Like for example, Well, there's a part of the series where all of them are hanging out, and there are these strangers who look like they're about to flirt with her. So the other guys are like, "Oh, well, we've grown close with her, so we want to protect her from any scummy guys." And as the guys talk to her, or she has her food in her hand, and she just starts eating faster. And it's like, "We're not trying to take. You're trying to flirt with you, not take your food." She's funny and dumb enough that I don't mind her tsundere tendencies, even when she thinks that somebody snoring is a cat meowing. It's no, it's not the same thing.
Oh, I don't know how to feel about this character because I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the, ooh, I guess, stupid characters or the ones that make stupid assumptions.
She's not. It happens just enough, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I guess for me, my thing is she's portrayed more as a funny character than she is a tsundere character, which makes things a little more easier to digest for me.
Yeah, I think when Tsunderes played off more for laughs than it is for um like, oh, as a love interest, and they're just hiding their feelings for about how they like love a person. I think I like it more.
Yeah. And it also does help that she goes through about the same amount of slapstick as some of the guys do. So they treat her less as, oh, you're the girl of the group, and just like you're just part of the group. So I don't know. Oh, I think as somebody who I thought, oh, great, a tsundere in this show, I grew to really like Ringo.
All right. I, I'll co-sign. I still haven't given this one a shot. Maybe eventually, as I said, I'm trying to debate some slice of life stuff, and you've talked about how much you really do enjoy daily life of high school boys.
Yeah,
So all right. So my next one.
go ahead.
So I put Inosuke Hashibara from Demon Slayer. It's the guy with the boar's head mask.
Yeah, I remember a Naruto video. I remember.
He's just he's so the way he treats Zenitsu and the other characters in this series, how he makes up random nicknames, kind of calls them that usually are kind of insulting sometimes. But then you see like how he gets when like Tanjiro's injured during missions. He's the first person to notice that Tanjiro is like waking up from his coma after the red light district arc, I think is what it was called. And he uh like should I mean he's apparently going in his room every single night, climbing on the ceiling, literally like a bug on the ceiling, and watching to make sure Tanjiro is okay. So you start seeing that he really does care about these people that he's become friends with. It's just he likes to pretend that he's the leader and doesn't really care about them, that he's more worried that his subordinate's injured and that he would lose a subordinate from this and all that, even though he's not really their leader. So it's just a lot with his, it's played off for laughs and more of a way for him to cope with being pretty much raised by a wild boar because the mask is his foster mom.
So he's Cubone.
Yes.
All right. Well, and also based on what I've heard, what some of the stuff Zenitsu does, he might deserve it. He might deserve a finger wag every now and then.
Yeah, and Inosuke, I think from what I remember, he doesn't really care as much about it, the ways, especially the way Zenitsu handles a lot of the stuff. So,
But yeah, I can co-sign. Everybody I've talked to seems to like Inosuke. Hey, boarhead or no boarhead. But I can go sign. I still am unsure about Demon Slayer though.
yeah, it got forced down a lot of people's throats, which caused me even to be delayed starting it. I didn't start till season 2 was already in the works. So,
Yeah, but I can go sign. He seems cool.
all right, your next honorable mention.
All right, Anya Hepburn from Soul Eater Not.
Okay.
At first glance, Anya's just this stuck-up rich girl who wants to partner with Tsugumi and Mei Mei, but there's a little more to her than that. She does do the tsundere thing of, oh well, if it helps you, I might throw something your way, but you do get the feeling that she's been sheltered for a long time and does want to make a connection with these girls. Well, she's also the first person to stand up to anybody who wants to bully them or other enemies. And sometimes she's not a fighter per se. She does kind of learn that from Liz and Patty. Like, look, fighting for the people you want, fighting to protect what you want, that's great. But also, not every enemy is going to play fair. And she does get stronger throughout the series and even puts her foot down and says, hey, Tsugumi, you have to make a choice between the two of us at some point for who you want to be your Meister. Her tendencies never got over the top, and I think her growth was actually kind of subtle compared to a lot of characters in the anime. And in the end, she is the person saying to her bodyguards and servants, hey, I know you want to get me out of here and you want me to be safe, but I'm not abandoning my friends. So do whatever you want. I'm going to go save them. So as a character who, like I said, I'm not a big Tsundere fan, I would honestly say she might have been my favorite character from this series because I just feel like in some cases that she was portrayed really well.
Okay. This is the character that's the witch, right? Hidden in the thing or no?
I think that's Kim. I think Kim is who you're talking about.
Okay.
And I guess Kim is technically a Tsundere too, but she's not on this list.
All right. Maybe one day we both enjoyed Soul Eater. This is another one I should probably give a shot since, I mean, you seem to really enjoy it. I just hadn't heard the best things about it.
It's not. The pacing's not great, and and it does get a little too cutesy sometimes. But when it hits right, it actually is really compelling.
Okay.
Like I said, I feel like Soul Eater should have been the 150 episode anime, while Soul Eater not could have been maybe 24 episodes, or hell, even 51 if they had enough to work with.
Just to introduce some side characters, world build a little bit more.
Yeah. And I'd like to say I want to see more from these girls, but seems like from Soul Eater to Not to Fire Force, it feels like we're working backwards in terms of the timeline.
Well, I think that's actually supposedly true, because I think, from my understanding, Fire Force is supposed to end with like the creation of the Grim Reaper and all that. And
yeah, I need to give Fire Force a chance at some point. Like I said though, Anya, I thought she was pretty cool. Well, unlike a lot of people, I wouldn't mind seeing the Not trio again someday.
it could be interesting. Sequel trilogy, or sequel, not trilogy, but sequel series with like the original Soul Eater characters and the Soul Eater Not characters might be able to be done. Might be able to tie up some loose ends and some stuff that they didn't finish up in Soul Eater.
Yeah. But maybe someday. Also, I will say, with the video we did, I think your character appearing in Soul Eater Dot makes far more sense than mine. But that's just the thought that was in my head.
From what I remember, your character kind of comes in right at the start of the Soul Eater series itself.
Sort of, but with the backstory you create, I'm like, might make more sense if Richard's character pops up in Not. But maybe someday. I don't know.
Yeah, if I watch the series, maybe we can talk about it.
Maybe.
All right. So my final honorable mention.
Yes.
All right. I put Gajeel from Fairy Tail.
Okay.
So he starts out as he is an antagonist. He's one of the main antagonists from the Phantom Lord war arc that they go through early on in the series. He attacks members of Fairy Tail, beats them up. He's from a rival guild that has always hated and always had a rivalry with Fairy Tail. But he's quickly recruited into Fairy Tail after the Fairy Tail wins the war and becomes a kind of loyal member. He works to earn forgiveness from them. He knows that what he did can't be really forgiven fully, but even those that he attacked eventually forgive him. Heck, he marries and has a kid with one of them. But you really see throughout the series that that he really does care about his guildmates. He cared about his Phantom Lord guildmates, but let their leader kind of lead him down the wrong path. of doing whatever you feel to make Phantom Lord better was kind of the mindset that he was given. And then once he saw what Fairy Tail was truly actually about, he really kind of grew and became a little bit more friendly, but he still hid it a lot and became embarrassed whenever anyone saw him do anything that was overly friendly towards any of the rest of the or towards any of the guild members.
Have you been keeping up with the new Fairy Tail season?
A little bit. I had to do some moving around the last couple of days, so I haven't been able to watch the last few episodes, but that's why you've got a lamp back there right now. I've been
I
meaning
didn't
to
know if that
watch.
was a lamp or a symbol, if I'm going to be 100% honest.
It's a lamp,
Okay.
but I had to move a whole bunch of stuff around my room, so I haven't been able to watch. I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks of it. So
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Let me put it to you this way. I actually am finding a way to slowly get ready for Fairy Tail. I'm not going to explain how. Oh, I'll save that for another time. But I see the newer season, I guess. I'm starting to get nervous.
yeah, there's some interesting stuff, and I'm a little curious because I haven't seen the parts that are coming up that I keep seeing like flashes of, and it's like a parallel universe kind of thing, and I need to get caught up to figure out what's
I was
going on.
talking about like I'm seeing a lot more fan service than I'm used to seeing from Fairy Tail. I'm like, huh, this is
Oh, just wait.
and I see the clips. And I'm like, I'm not fully comfortable with this, but maybe the story's good enough to override it.
Yeah, well, I think we're talking about the same scenes. Maybe I'm further behind than I thought, but
Yeah,
they're.
am I ahead of you in something Fairy Tail related?
I mean, I know what you're talking about. The scenes with Urza,
Oh,
the red-haired girl.
oh,
Or
I meant her, but I also meant Juvia. There's some stuff I'm like, oh, this
yeah,
is.
if it's Juvia with Gray, it always happens.
I want to talk about it. But as for Gajeel, yeah, I've heard good stuff about him. I do hear that he actually does want to redeem himself, and in some cases has. But him keeping those tsundere tendencies also makes sense in a way.
But it's funny because there are times that he does some of the most ridiculous things. He fancies himself a kind of blues singer, so he'll go out on stage with this guitar and a suit and he starts singing, and it's very much out of tune, deep voice singer. He's jokingly tried to do stand up and it makes no sense. So it just little stuff like that, it's like he embarrasses himself, but then when he's talking with people and someone's like, "Oh, you care about us," he gets embarrassed about that sort of stuff.
Maybe he should get embarrassed about his terrible stand-up. Yeesh, and I thought Professor Oak's jokes were terrible. They
Oh,
are.
come on. Professor Oak is the best.
You said before that Professor Oak's poetry is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, hopefully, like I said, I'm easing myself into Fairy Tail in a slightly different way than most people do. But hopefully, the stuff I've seen from the newer series doesn't make me sad. Maybe I can. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit. There's all with Fairy Tail. You're gonna have fan service. There's going to be some, but it's not. It's usually like one episode they do something fan servicey, and then the next episode they jump to something else.
Maybe everybody on Twitter is just horny. Maybe that's why I keep seeing it.
I think that's true too. So,
Yeah, so if that's the case, my bad, Fairy Tail, but I can co-sign.
all right. So your final honorable mention?
All right, a character we can both talk about. Mai Valentine from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes.
we're gonna have to do a list about it at some point. She's just a character who I really didn't start loving until I got older. You learn early on, you learn whether it's the dub says her parents are always working, but the sub says her parents are gone, that she had to take care of herself from a very young age. And similar to Jessie, she wants fame, fortune, and all the nice stuff. But thanks to Yugi and friends, well, predominantly Joey, she does learn that there is there's something nice in fighting for your friend. And remember, when Bandit Keith steals Joey's car to compete, Joey feels horrible, and Mai sacrifices her car just so Joey can help Serenity. She finds a way of always telling them that they are friends, and I don't know, she does find what show that she cares. A little rough around the edges, a little scary sometimes, but like that's just Mai, and I especially love that as she meets Serenity, they get really close. She said, "Can't believe a blockhead like Joey would have such a sweet sister like you," but they do get along. I really like Mai.
Yeah, I've come to appreciate her more and more as the series has gone on. Or as I've gotten older, because the series I did so long ago. But I don't know. The only part and again, it's probably one of my parts that I don't like about the Orichalcos arc is how they treat Mai in that, because it feels like it goes a lot against all of her growth that we'd seen throughout the series. It
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that um, I wish that had been more of a full brainwashing rather than having a tragic backstory added onto it of her winning tournaments or almost winning tournaments, but being made fun of by random audience members. And rather than go to her friends, she fell in with this gang of murderous soul stealers.
I do think that she could have like had season five, like hypothetically, if they gave her like one massive spotlight for season five that wrapped up everything, she could have been excellent. She might have been my favorite character from that season. And but that is why she's an honorable mention, because her character does end on kind of a wet note. Like I've said before, I would have liked her like gotten her own special or a move or like her own thing that shows just how much she's grown, that she appreciates everybody. And like I find it super sweet how Serenity said she wants to be just like Ma. And Mai kind of gets flustered by it. I really have grown to like Mai.
Yeah, because I could. Yeah, if she'd gotten some sort of special or something to wrap up where it could have involved parts of the story of her being made fun of for being not for losing all these big tournaments, but the fact is that she's been a finalist in a lot of them. So
In her defense, a lot of the people she's beat said, "Why couldn't I have been beaten by somebody like Yugi or Kaiba, the important people?" So I can understand being not even the bronze medal in some cases, and that frustrates you.
but I think I'll co-sign. I 100% agree. I Maya's, especially how much she grows between the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, and apparently she starts a tag team with a woman named Vivian in season five. So maybe that's a sign that she's become somebody who can rely on other people. But it gets a little focused. It's more of a cameo spot, so I can't fully give the writers credit for that.
Yeah, I don't even remember that part, and
Yeah,
it's been so long since I've seen season 5 of these anime.
yeah. It kind of ironically enough, during that scene I talked about with like, you should have gotten beat by Yugi or Joey. Ironically, there is a woman there is a woman who they're talking to, and she says with Mai in earshot, Joey Wheeler's always been my favorite. He's kind of cute in a tough guy sort of way.
Okay.
I didn't know Joey was so popular with older women, but here, go figure. But Mai's awesome. Needed more to work with towards the end, but I still love Mai.
Exactly. All right. So my final one.
Please.
So I put Misty from Pokemon on my list,
Okay.
and I'm more talking her her through maybe into advanced generation, but any of her cameos after that, she has a little bit of it, but not nearly as much of her tsundere characteristics. I noticed, especially the uh, what was it? The end of Journeys thing where they had Ash meeting up with a lot of his old friends.
A, a lot. If by a lot you mean three, then sure, but continue.
Yeah, but you just and she has legitimate reasons to be angry with Ash. He doesn't really understand, so she's trying to teach this kid who stole her bike and then destroyed it with his electric rat. So she has legitimate reasons to be angry. He doesn't understand like that you have to weaken Pokemon to capture it, and that he just got lucky with his Caterpie. You get all these little things, but you get little bits that she does care, because you get one-off scenes with her caring for other Pokemon stuff, and that really comes all out when it comes to when Togepi hatches and she bonds with Togepi. She becomes a lot more open. She still has that tsundere characteristics, especially towards Ash and Team Rocket, but for the most part, you start seeing that she really does care about people, and she called it. And again, the big goodbye at the end of the Johto saga, where she goes kind of back to that tsundere characteristic of pretty much calling Ash stupid for not understanding her feelings, but he does. It's just he was trying to make it a we'll see each other again rather than a real goodbye.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do think a lot of people kind of I feel like a lot of people are a little hard on Misty when it comes to the whole Tsundere thing, because people seem to forget just how terrible that, like, for all the flack Ash gets later in the series, he was even worse at his job in the beginning. So he couldn't have somebody hold his hand and tell him everything was going to be fine. He had to have somebody tell him, no, if you try your hardest, everything will not work out. The Pokemon, like, you need to do better. Better. He needed that early in the series.
Yeah. And you thinking back on it just now, Misty actually has kind of a tragic backstory, because she's kind of forced to become the gym leader because her three older sisters are given pretty much everything. They get a world trip, they get all these other things, and they're called like the three beauties of Cerulean City, and she's the fourth sister. There's talk, I think, in an episode where she gets nothing but hand-me-downs from her sister. She doesn't get anything new, which can happen with families. I understand that in bigger families that hand-me-downs are a very popular thing, but they pretty much hint that all three older sisters got new, and Misty got whatever was still usable.
Yeah. Which is kind of odd in a sense when you'd say, oh, they're the three beauties, and then there's Misty, especially considering how many guys in the series have hit on Misty on a regular basis.
Yeah, so she does grow throughout it, because she comes more confident, as I think, throughout the Johto series, especially opening up and then being willing to go back and become the Cerulean City gym leader fully. And you get to see how strong she's become by the end of the series with Gyarados, and the fact that she can Mega Evolve it and all that is kind of cool.
Yeah, I will say, though, her treatment of Psyduck early on does not hold up well. I will fully say that.
Yeah. I wish we'd gotten more of like where she got Psyduck from, because it seems like it was just one of the Pokemon she had from the beginning, from what I remember. Or does she catch it?
I feel like I know she caught. I was watching Suede's Pokemon Journeys review, and I feel like she caught it on screen. I'm almost positive.
Uh,
Come on, come on. She totally caught it.
oh, it's in Hypno Nap Time.
That's correct.
So it's a mistaken catch, because she doesn't even, according to what I just read, she just drops the Pokeball and the Curious Wild Psyduck hits the ball and gets captured.
Yeah, they did make up for that though in Journeys, because when Psyduck battles, well, she's very appreciative to it, and I do like that. But besides that, I do agree. I think Misty, even nowadays, I kind of feel like Misty gets disrespected. Some of that's by people who's like, oh, she was so mean. I'm like, did you see how Ash was, and did you see how Brock made some of these women a little uncomfortable with his flirting? They needed somebody to reel them in.
Yeah, this was very much a project of the 90s. There's parts of the original series that I don't think would really fly for a kids anime nowadays.
Yeah, very true. Oh, and like I've said before, I do like to think if the two ever met, that Misty and Serena would be friends, despite the rest of the internet seemingly wanting them to kill each other.
Yeah, probably. I think would, I don't know, I think they would play it off more as just two traveling companions.
Probably. Like I said, I don't like the idea of them fighting just because of Ash, because then you make both characters their quote unquote crushes, and that's not interesting to me in the slightest.
Yeah. But yeah, so Misty, I put her on my list. I always appreciate her and as a tsundere, especially because I think I owned the tape that had the episode where we learned that, or she talks about having to get only hand me downs and stuff from her sisters and how, and and then I remember that early on, I think it's when they go to Cerulean City for the first time, they mention that they're the three beauties of the city. So
And then she wins that contest with all that dolls and those dolls and memorabilia and sends them back saying, "Oh, they're mine, but I'm sending them back home just so my sisters know." I'm like, that's badass. That is so cool. I will never forgive her though for wanting to catch that oddish simply because, oh, we found it near water and water's my specialty. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I love you so much, Missy, but that is stupid.
yeah, that was not her greatest moment there.
Yeah, we could talk about a lot of characters we love and they're not so great moments, but I agree, Misty's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So your last one?
All right, Luna Platz from Mega Man Star Force.
Okay.
I just love how look, Luna can be annoying, Luna can be pushy, Luna can be insensitive, but she does care deep down. She's the class rep for Gio's class, and she wants to get Gio to come to class. And Gio doesn't really want to with the disappearance of his father. You can't really blame the kid. But she's very much like, oh, if I can get everybody in class and everybody listen to me, that makes me look better. And there are times where she commands people like Zack and Bud around to be her henchmen, but she does want to take care of them in some aspects. Heck, when she gets saved by Mega Man and she doesn't know Gio's Mega Man, she does start to get nicer and she falls in love with Mega Man. And, and to the point where she makes the school play about Mega Man and Gio has to play him. It's a weird thing, but I do appreciate it. At the same time, though, it grows to the point where she wants Gio in class because she legitimately cares about him because they're trying to be friends. And even Gio thinks to himself at one point, she's annoying and she's been in my way for so long, but she's one of the few people who wants me to get better. So I'm going to become Mega Man. I'll be Mega Man to save Luna. And it's you really grow to appreciate their dynamic, even at times they do blow up at each other. Because you see that Gio makes Luna a kinder person, while Luna makes Gio more assertive and want to stand up for himself. It's just a really good mix of she has an effect on everybody, but everybody starts to have an effect on her, and she does seem happier with her friends.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of the anime. I went back and found it on a couple different places just to be able to stream what I could find. And she is definitely that pushy, bossy tsundere that they usually give to like the class rep kid in anime that take place in that late elementary, early middle school, where they kind of overreact to what their role actually is. But I co-sign. I think I could see her growing a lot. From what I remember, even in those first few episodes, you see her start to appreciate Mega Man and actually start to like have more than just those tendencies, even early on.
Yeah. And we learn why that is because her backstory is that her parents are very successful and they put so much pressure on her that she kind of has to act like she's better than everybody else. She has to keep pushing herself. And when she fails, her parents think, "Oh, your friends are dragging you down, so we're gonna have to leave." But you just because the point of Mega Man Star Force is that if you're a damaged enough person, then one of the aliens or that's the term I'm going to call them will kind of take over your body, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like that. So you see her insecurities flare up, and while I do think in some ways she could have been used better, there are some awesome moments. Like in particular, there is a scene where she stands up to an enemy when Mega Man is in trouble, and she ends up dying. Well, it's a Disney death. She ends up coming back, but the fact that she was willing to put her life on the line, and even like she's just real. I just think she's a really good character, and in the sense where I can't believe I'm saying this, but if they got older, they aged up down the line, and Gio actually and Luna ended up together, I wouldn't hate it. I would actually say, you know what? I want the main character to be with the tsundere instead of the other option, and I've never said that before.
Yeah, I don't remember you ever saying that because you always said that they always were the worst character, or seemed to be the worst option. So
They usually are, but every now and then there's an upside. And I don't even hate any of the other interests for Gio, but I just think that she was, besides his mom, Luna was kind of the person who made Gio a better person. Because if it wasn't for her, I feel like Gio might have gone dark, which apparently that might have been a plan for a sequel game, but I can't determine how I feel about that until the game maybe ever comes out.
yeah, and maybe that would be part of, because you're what, 3 years away from the 25th anniversary.
I don't know.
I think that's about right. That they were. It was right after NT Warrior, so it should be in the next couple of years.
I hope so.
And I may give it a shot then, because as I said, I only played the NT Warrior games, so they look kind of fun. So I might give that one a shot.
Yeah, but I don't. That's that Luna. She helped Gio, and she grows to want to protect her friends. And I honestly would think she's my favorite tsundere in anime, even if I have no idea how she gets her hair the way she does. I don't get it.
Those giant ringlets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned you had one more. I have one more that I had as my emergency backup. So do you want to?
We can do them super quick.
All right. So I guess additional ones that we've just decided to add. The Prince of all Tsunderes, Vegeta, specifically from Dragon Ball Super.
Sure. Okay.
And just Z, he still has a lot of villain tendencies throughout the entire series. But when you get to Super, it becomes so much more focused on he's the anti-hero. He's Goku's best buddy pretty much at this point, and but he really does care about his family. Heck, he turns down fighting because Bulma's on the verge of giving birth, and he says, "I'm not going to go fight now. She may need me." That's something that DBZ Vegeta would never have done, but he still acts very tsundere-esque towards Goku and a lot of the other humans, being like just not wanting to go out and necessarily do everything with them. But yeah, he actually kind of does at this point.
Yeah, I do still consider him a tsundere, and Super was a good growth for him.
Yeah, as I said, that's kind of what, if we had just had Z, I probably wouldn't have included him, because he, at that point, I still view him more as he's a villain that's leaning towards doing good now. But now in this series, once Super came out, he was much more of a tsundere in that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, just a quick one. So, your final one?
Kumagoro Saiki from Saiki K. Saiki's grandpa.
Yes, I remember this episode.
He's super hostile and doesn't care about anybody, but on the inside, he's like, "Oh my god, my beautiful daughter and my grandson are here. We have to do with my stupid son-in-law." But he's funny and over the top enough that I kind of love him, and he even thinks to himself, "Man, I really wish I could tell my family how much I appreciate them." And Psyche's like, "Then just tell us." And Psyche even thinks, "I can't hate the guy because he loves us so much, but he is a pain in the neck." But I don't know. Oh, and especially in one of the first episodes he's in, when he's kind of talking trash about Psyche's dad when him and Psyche are on the Ferris wheel, and Psyche gets pissed. Psyche starts shaking the Ferris wheel and saying, "Hey, he may be an unreliable dad, but he's still my dad, and I don't want anybody else saying bad stuff about him." And Psyche's grandpa runs over and just hugs him and says, "It's okay, Kusuo, I'll keep you safe." And kind of letting out that he does care about Psyche and would do anything to protect him. So he's I couldn't put Psyche on this list because I don't fully consider Psyche a tsundere, but his grandpa definitely is.
Yes, Psyche's more of a, how to put it? He's just antisocial. He's
He's
not really antagonistic.
He's a kudere, but that's a different list for another day.
Yeah, but I co-sign. I remember you really, I think, cracked up when you first watched this episode and had me and Jabari sit and watch parts of it with you.
I think we just got done with a Pokemon movie or something. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna watch Saiki. Hey, if anybody else is interested, stay. If not, go away.
Yeah, and Jabari stayed and I was watching something else, but then y'all started really like enjoying it, so I stopped and watched with you from that point on. I remember like just going, oh, he is just the angry old man, and then no, he's just doing that to hide that he wants to be the doting grandfather.
To almost a creepy extent in some cases, but it's just enough I find it funny. But Saiki's grandpa. But I still, even with that, I'm still saying Luna from Mega Man Star Force is my favorite tsundere.
Yeah. Vegeta, I don't know, as I said, without Super, I don't view him really as a tsundere. I view him more as an evil character with goodly intentions, so that's why he wasn't really on my list.
Yeah, I understand though.
Alright, so we ready to wrap up?
Yes, we are. So, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, who are some of your favorite tsunderes in anime? Hey, I tried my hardest to say nice stuff about tsunderes, so just give us a little bit of extra love. Not that we want to give you, not that we want you to give us love, but you know.
Great, he's turned into one.
There are people who say I'm a tsundere, and I vehemently disagree. But who are some of your favorites? Romantic ones, non-romantic ones? What do they go through? Do you disagree with any of the ones on our list?
Exactly. And, I mean, are there any major ones that we missed from shows that we've seen before? Because that's the big thing. You need to have seen the show.
Yeah, Taiga from Toradora. Get over it.
I've never seen Toradora, so I can't speak on that one.
Exactly. And would you want us to do a list of worst tsunderes? Because I could do that list.
Yeah, he's already got it written down. I think we'll probably eventually do it once I get around to making that list.
Well, it's going to be... I'll have about 50 honorable mentions, but we can make something work.
Great. I'll just take 8 from his honorable mentions.
Works for me. But let us know what you think. Tell us who some of your favorite tsunderes are. Maybe we'll do other types of dere, but I'll have to really twist Richard's arm for that.
Yeah, I'm not... I don't know. I know tsundere, I know yandere.
We'll talk. We'll talk about it. But be sure to let us know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other jazz. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll see you next time. This has been Alice.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night and peace easy.